from your choices, it comes to life. Rules at the ready, we call for results that are fair. Tradition survive to honor the rights of the game. Stand here beside us and take your place, Legionnaire. Whatever you play, our goal will remain the same. Legionnaires, you lift the standard, shoulder to shoulder. We ride with iron in our voice and light in our shield. We are one. From the page to the table, from the screen to the player's mind. Legion of Myth stands ready to headline. Legionnaire. You lift the standard, shoulder to shoulder. We ride with iron in our voice and light in our shield. We are one. From the page to the table, from the screen to the player's mind. Legion of Myth stands ready to headline. So let's have some fun. Answer the call. Subscribe and share. Answer the call, Legionnaire. Legionnaire.
Hello, Legionnaires, and welcome to another very special episode 255 of Legionnaires RPG Digest. I am John Maxley Auschlow, your favorite curmudgeon, critic, and judge. Along with me today is the bane of his ISP. We have Brian Gaming with ADHD. Remove last name. I hate you. Oh, okay. Joining us today. Let's get this off the screen. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing fantastic, Max. Didn't know I've been upgraded to the bane of the ISP. I mean, I've been nice so far.
Well, obviously not nice enough after yesterday's live stream. Are they out there fixing it yet?
No.
Well,
Nope.
then they're not in a hurry to to support your needs.
No kidding. First appointment of the day, and he's already an hour. Well, he's not technically late. They said between 8 and 10.
Wow,
It's
you
been
get that
an
kind of.
hour.
When I was in Germany, they'd say, "Well, they'll be there between 7 and 5." What? And then they'd show up at like 6. I'd be like, "I just got out of bed." Like, well, we're here. Germany likes to start early, man. If
That's
they ever
fine.
tell you, like, "Hey, we'll be there in the morning," they basically mean the sun isn't even up yet, and we're going to be knocking on your doors. Like, no, I'm an American. Morning starts at like 10 a.m. for me.
I'm okay with 8. You know, I worked all night anyways, but you know, it's your first appointment of the day. Like, how hard is it to be there? Like I could understand if I was the 5th and like they just kept getting pushed back.
Look,
You know,
they've got a status to maintain. If they show up on time for you, you're going to pass that word along. And then they're going to have to show up on time for everybody.
I'm just saying, if I get the first one, I should get it on time.
I understand. But if they do that for you, then when I call and like you were there for Brian, just saying, they can't. Oh my God, is he broken already? Yes. And we got our first free. Does he come back or no?
Did he finally just get here? Hey, guess who showed up?
Oh, right. Perfect timing because you just froze.
I know, right? Anyways, okay. I'm gonna drop out.
Okay, sounds good. All right, look at that. He shows up for the intro and then he's like, I quit. Cool. All right. So, what is our goal today? Our goal for today is to continue reading the book and going through the combat section, and hopefully not confuse people on critical hits anymore. I want to get a couple of things out of the way even before I thank you folks and then start diving into the book. I received quite a few comments, a couple of nasty ones, believe it or not, mostly targeted towards Palladium books, which is pretty ridiculous. So let me just knock this out of the way. Out of the way. I don't know what I'm saying. Words are bad. Yes, I have a PDF of the rule book. No, you are not getting a copy of it. Okay? I am not even giving a copy of it to anybody I know because I don't feel like ruining a friendship and we'll call it a business relationship with Kevin and Sean. It is not for public release. It was something that basically there are so many NDAs and legal issues that they know I was going to show it because we talked about that. But yeah, if this thing goes anywhere outside of like my hard drive, so if my hard drive dies, I don't even have it on my shared drive. Then it's gone forever, and that's just the way it has to be. I'm surprised they didn't even give me like limited use of it. Like, okay, you can have it for a month. I've actually seen that. When doing editing work and when doing NDA agreements and so forth of games in the past, like you must throw this away, you must burn it, whatever. I've literally signed documents like that. They didn't give that to me this time, but anyway, no, like I'm sorry, but it's not for. There's going to be no public dissemination, and they will know if it gets out there who did it. In fact, if Kevin really wanted to screw me over, he could just send it to people that he knows and be like, "John, why did you do that?" So, because so no, there's going to there is. Don't ask me for a PDF copy. Don't ask Kevin and Sean for a PDF copy or Jeremy. It is what it is. All right, so. I've just got to state that out there. And the second one is the character sheet. I created that character sheet in Google Docs. It's literally just a Google Doc. That is all it is. I can't, as of right now, give it to anybody because I don't know the legality of it because it has the TMNT logo in the side or in the upper right, upper left. My military left. And I don't want to break any sort of legal requirements like, dude, you've got our trademark logo on there. You can't do that. It's not officially sanctioned product. I will talk to Kevin and Sean about that to see if I'm allowed to like give people access to it for personal use or something like that. I suppose I could remove it, but I'm sure if I removed it, a lot of people would be like, oh, it's just not as cool as it was a moment ago. But yeah, this PDF, I'm not even going to be using for my own personal. It's like it's not on my tablet or anything for when I run the game. I will be using the physical books. It's literally for the purposes of this right here. And if Kevin or Sean were to ever say, hey, even if we had a falling out and I hated them for some reason, and like, hey, yeah, we want you to get rid of that document. You're not really supposed to have it. I would. And if you don't believe me, you can go watch our members only stream where I talk about my what I think about people pirating PDFs and music and videos and so forth. So this is a respect thing between me and Palladium Books where, it's my ass on the line if anything gets out there. So no, hopefully that makes sense to you folks out there. And I'm not mad for people asking, by the way, I get it. You're like, what? I understand. And I don't know if Palladium gave it to anybody else. I don't control what they do. I know that there were multiple proofreaders of the of the game for various sections. I know that there were multiple play testers. I don't know if that was purely internal or what. But so I don't handle their business practices, and it's not right for me to determine what they do. I'm just very appreciative that I did get a PDF to show it to you guys while you're waiting for packages. People on my Discord, I don't have a notification saying my crap's on the way. No. But other people are like, oh, I got the notification. My stuff's being shipped. It should be here on Wednesday. What? Where's mine? So, I mean, it is what it is. So I hope that makes sense to everybody out there. PDF will come eventually, I assume. Well, again, they're remember, so with this, Palladium, I am not all knowledgeable. This is my understanding. So if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But my understanding is this goes beyond Palladium. This is a Paramount and a Nickelodeon thing. There will be no PDFs. I don't even know if they're going to do soft covers. I like to have soft covers for my table. I like hard covers either for me or something that I kind of show off. But for when I'm actually playing the game, flipping through the book and doing all that stuff, I like soft covers, and I don't even know if that's going to happen. So, right, exactly, Law Dog. Let me put that on the screen for the people like, maybe Nerdy Ogre or somebody again. He says they don't tell you how to make YouTube videos, and you don't tell them how to make publishing decisions. Correct. So, and they don't control my channel. That is one thing here. I've been called a Palladium shill a few times. I really love Palladium books. More so after meeting the guys, but we call out the faults as well. They don't give me product for free. I don't ask for product. To be fair, you could say that PDF was free. After I backed the Kickstarter for like $1,500, I did one on my personal account and one on my Legion of Myth account. One of them was the max that I could do. The other one was a bunch of extra stuff for giveaways, and I just, maybe wanted more myself, So, Nora, who is my wife, doesn't even have access to my PDF. She's the one, by the way, she's the one that went out of the way and time-stamped yesterday's live stream. So everybody should thank her for that. She suffered through 2 hours and 40 minutes of that 3-hour something minute video. Then I was finally done because I did some work in the backyard, and she doesn't even like this stuff. And she suffered through that. So thank Noro for time-stamping that video. Yeah. Girls have cooties. Yeah. Licensing issues out. Yeah. So yeah, there'd definitely be issues with PDF. So I can't tell you. I know that the public stance for Palladium is that there will be no PDF. And no, I don't have any super secret behind the scenes information saying that they plan on changing that. In fact, I have the exact opposite. Like, no, there aren't going to be any PDFs. Okay. Now, if you still think somehow, some way that you as a content creator deserve a PDF to do what I'm doing, obviously I don't make their decisions for them. You can maybe reach out to them through the the contact section of the book, or sorry, of their website. Why did I say of the book? That's weird. That's all I've got for you. So there we go. Oh, yep, Brian dropped completely now. So hopefully, like I said, that makes sense. And I apologize. Like I don't sit here going, look at me, I'm cool, I got this. I literally only have this for the purposes I'm excited about turtles, and I want to get this information out to you folks. And Palladium graciously agreed. That's where it ends. So, so please keep that in consideration. I'm not gonna harp on this anymore. So if you put in the comments, how do I get my own PDF copy? I'm probably just not even gonna respond to it. I'm just gonna assume you didn't even watch this to get that information. So, and again, as for the character sheet, let me get information. Let me find out from them if I can do that. I mean, if somebody wants one without the thing in the upper left of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Other Strangeness, because I only made that for me. But I can understand, if some people like it, sure. But I'm not going to break any sort of rules for that. All right, with that, yes. Oops, not that one. There you go. All right, no PDF. Let's get to the goods. Okay, let's do that. Let's get to the goods. But before, because this is an RPG Digest live stream, I do have to thank you guys for being here and let you know about, we only made $10 in super chats yesterday. Kind of disappointed in that. Now, it is a morning stream, and there are only like 30 people watching yesterday. I get that, but I think we can do better than $10, especially if we want to have a giveaway. I didn't even prepare for the giveaway today because I just made the assumption they didn't pay yesterday, not going to pay today. But maybe you'll surprise me. With that said, whether you pay or whether you're hanging out at work or however you're here, whether you're like, YouTube's free, I'm not paying. Okay, I get it. I still thank you. So first and foremost, I'm extremely grateful you are here, and I sincerely thank you for spending your time with us today on RPG Digest. A special shout out to our new viewers, and I hope you enjoy this live stream. Share it with your friends and come back to join us again. Please consider supporting Legion of Myth or our charity, the Wounded Warrior Project, through the links in the live stream description. Rumble rants and super chats of less than $20 I'll read at the end of each segment. $20 or more, I will interrupt the segment to read your rant or chat as immediately as I can. $50 or more, I will take a drink in your name, and you can force us to answer any tabletop RPG-related question of your choice right then and there. If we reach $100 or more in super chats and Rumble rants, there will be a $75 Palladium Books or Drive-Thru RPG gift card giveaway towards the end of the live stream. Legion of Myth YouTube members and Rumble subscribers, as well as today's super chatters and Rumble ranters, have the opportunity to win, but you must be watching at the time of the giveaway to claim your victory. Else, it'll roll over to next week and it'll be $100 next week. Thank you very much for your kind support and donation. All right, let me look at that question. Oh yeah, are you going to cover transdimensional book, time travel, and magic? Do you have that PDF too? Do I have that PDF? I actually don't know if I have that PDF. Did they give me both? I have the physical book because I got preview copies of the physical books as well. That's actually how I put most of this together because I don't do PDFs personally. Let me actually check real quickly right now if I have that. I think I do. It'd be weird if I don't. You know, I'm preparing for a transdimensional video, and it'd be hilarious if I don't actually have the book. Be like, well, I just wasted a lot of prep time on a video that I can't make. TMNT and Other Strangeness, Redux. Transdimensional Adventures. Yes, I do. And it's the Sophie Campbell cover, so I'll show you that right now. Oop. All right. And share screen. Transdimensional. I don't need audio. So there you go. Yes, I do have it. In that cover. By the way, this cover looks better in person, so to speak, than it does even here. I mean, I'm not a fan of the color palette. That's okay. They got like 95 different covers, right? But I still think it looks good. And I think this is a great cover to give to maybe somebody who's younger or somebody more feminine, or I think this is an awesome way. Girls like to pet bunny rabbits and kitty cats and whatever else, right? Yes, I'm generalizing, I'm stereotyping. That's fine. The perfect book cover. I want to see more girls in the hobby. So this is a perfect book cover for them. Or get the red, white, and black edition and say, there you go, man up. I'm sure I just annoyed a lot of people, but I don't care. Okay, let's go to that. And yes, I do plan on doing. I ran into some problems recording the transdimensional ones. I've rolled up 2 characters that don't make any sense whatsoever. I think I talked about one of them yesterday, where I rolled up a character with a 7 IQ, but he invented a dimensional traveling machine. Yeah, sorry. And none of his skills, technically, did he have an IQ requirement. There was one very important one that he couldn't take that would have required it, but it wasn't part of his skill package that he had to take. So it didn't make any dang sense to me. So yeah, I didn't want to keep going with that one because I didn't even like the character. It's not that the book is bad. I'm sure that you can make some rationale for it at the table, but I just got to the point where I was like, this is just breaking my brain too much. I can't do it. And then there was another one that I just started off, and I was like, yeah, no, hold on. Let's get back to basics here. So with that said, I'm going to make at least 2 videos. One is going to be on just character creation, and I will make sure that it is a new animal from that book. So if I have to roll again, I'll just simply roll again. And two, I'm going to do something that includes the dimensional, building a dimensional vehicle or time traveling vehicle, however it turns out. It could be time traveling, could be dimensional. I'm only going to do one, and I'll probably. I don't like to do this. I like to roll completely randomly and see what happens. But either I'll do a third character where I am not so random, or I'll just do it with the first character and I'm going to make it a magic, something that uses the magic of transdimensional. So I just like, I don't know. I feel dirty when I don't randomly roll. That's just how I like to do it. So, and for $10, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Supporting the channel there. You're awesome. And by the way, it's good conversation back and forth in the previous video, so much so that I had to rush very quickly in between videos to eat quickly, basically did a military shower, came back, and here I am. Now, let's get into the book. We're 25 minutes into this video. Let's get into the book. And where did we leave off? I think it was page 90, not 910. There aren't that many pages in the book. And I will just start reading until Brian comes back. So I think we got it through to everybody what natural armor is. I have decided that at some point I am going to make a video or a short on the critical hit stuff, because I listened to that again and yeah, I was not explaining that well. I'm going to do it. I have a way of explaining it, but I have to do it with some sort of like presentation, like slides or whatever, that should make perfect sense to everybody. So I apologize for anybody that I confused even more with the critical hole. Somebody actually made a comment saying it's right there in the description. It just says how to do it. I'm like, okay, yeah, and we mentioned that, but we're talking about when you stack criticals. And I don't even know if you can stack criticals in TMNT. My bad. Okay, let's start with the natural 20. Somebody asked yesterday about natural 1. I am not aware of there being a natural 1 in for attack rolls in this book. But if we come up to it, and remember, when I'm talking about the rules, barring sometimes when I have to do it, I'm only talking about what's in the Redux edition of this book. So here we go. So natural 20. This is the result of 20 when rolling a 20-sided die. So natural 20, for any gamer knows this, but if you're new to tabletop role-playing games, a natural 20 means you actually see that 2-0 on the 20-sided die. If you have a 19, but you have a +1 bonus, that's called a modified 20. So a natural 20 is yeah. Sorry, I was reading chat. I gotta stop reading chat. You guys distract me. Thank you, Beat Magnet. That's what I thought. But you know, sometimes there's some obscure book out there that I don't have, that where things come up. But yeah, natural 20 is when you roll a 2-0 on the die. A roll to strike without modifiers of 20 is always a critical strike. If a character with a +4 bonus to strike rolls a 16, the modified result is 20. Oh, okay. Well, there you go. I didn't have to do all that explanation. But this is not a natural 20, and it is not a critical strike. A natural 20 beats all other rolls and can only be successfully parried, dodged, or otherwise reacted to by another natural 20. Perfect. What's it? The penetration rules for armor are in modern weapons. Sorry, sir, it's contemporary weapons. I don't deal with that change nonsense. Yeah, the book is called Modern Weapons now. It shouldn't penetrate natural armor until it's depleted. Until what's depleted? Because natural armor never goes away. Natural armor is just a deflection or a hit. Natural armor doesn't have SDC. So what is it that you meant there? No. Or I may have just been reading it or misreading it, so I do that a lot. Parry is, so we're on parry now. Parry is a reaction where the defender attempts to deflect an attack away from their body, usually by blocking the attacker's weapon or limb. Characters with combat training can parry without using up an action. This is called an automatic parry. So if you have combat training basic, combat training elite, combat training martial arts, any of them, you get an automatic parry. And we talked about multiple attackers yesterday's, so that's in the previous stream. It is time-stamped in there. You can see it. We talked about that then. If you do not have a hand-to-hand, so you know what, it might just say it here. How about this? So range attacks cannot be parried without a shield. Characters can attempt to parry any strikes they're aware of within their line of sight. If successfully parried, an attack deals no damage. Correct. Okay. So if you don't have a hand-to-hand skill, if you're just like, you know what, my character's a nerd, he didn't learn how to fight, no big deal. That's fine. You can do that. I've actually made characters like that. But then parrying costs an action. All right. So. Oh, until the SDC of the body armor is depleted. Got it. Okay. Yeah, I actually tend to use the penetration. I like my games to be deadly, though. So I know a lot of people don't necessarily like that, but I do like the penetration and armor rules and like the stun rules and so forth from the Compendium of Contemporary or Modern Weapons. I use that in my After the Bomb games. Prone. A character who is prone is lying on the ground. Well, this may help in concealment or to take cover from enemy ranged attack. Now, that's a Game Master call. It means the character cannot take a normal move action. We talked about those yesterday as well. And must instead crawl as a move action or use an action to change the position to standing. And see the movement section that we covered in depth yesterday. Pull punch. The ability to control the force of a melee strike. Usually used to reduce the blow to less than killing force. An attacker can choose to half the damage, quarter the damage, deal only a single point of damage, or no damage at all. A character must declare a pull punch before rolling to strike. To successfully pull punch, the player must roll an 11 or better on a d20. Failure means full damage will be inflicted by the strike. You know, I don't know if I ever paid attention to the no damage at all before. Like you want to hit him with the flat side of the blade. I'm not sure that I ever used that as a pull punch. So I don't know if that's a change or if I've just been doing it wrong. Probably doing it wrong. Interesting. Okay. Never got the purpose of pull punch. I mean, the goal is to take the mob out. Well, yes and no. If you're playing scrupulous or principled, it might be one of those situations where you, or what if you're in a situation where you have to take him alive? You have to get the information from him. I can see various reasons for using it. Most of the time when I see it used, it's because two characters are sparring or something. So, but yeah, I don't see it used a lot. I'll be honest with you. I don't see it used a lot. Probably should be used more though. Ranged attack targeting. Simply, this means making an attack action at range with a hurled weapon or physically powered projectile like a bow. Rolling to hit, adding the character's physical prowess strike bonus, if any, to the weapon proficiency strike bonus, if any. We talked a lot about that yesterday. I won't dive into it today, but just remember, Palladium folks. Yes, now, starting with Redux edition of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, your physical prowess adds to ranged attacks. To be fair, I think it always did add to this type of ranged attack, but it also adds to firearm attacks. Hurling objects. Any small objects such as rocks, bottles, knives, shuriken, acid, or explosives can be hurled as an attack action. The effective range is 10 yards for those without weapon proficiency targeting or general athletics. 20 yards for those with. And this isn't an either. You can have just one and you get that. Strong characters add 2 yards to the hurling range for each physical strength point above 15. And by the way, I play the game in meters, not yards. I'm saying yards because most of the other stuff here is done in imperial units. That's why I'm saying yards here. And even though I'm an American, I actually like playing games in meters, not because I visualize it better. It's just the math is easier, and you can adjust for things easier, we'll say. Weight might be a little bit of an exception to that. It's like, because I really have a hard time with kilograms, even though I lived overseas for a total of 15 years of my life. 11 in Germany, a couple in Japan, a year in Kuwait, time in Russia, time in Korea. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. But you do you. But I'm only going to say yards here because it's redundant to say both of those. And generally, this game uses imperial units. Now, ranged attack modern weapons. When firing a weapon as an attack action, there are 3 main modes of attack. Longtime Palladium fans know what these are. I always thought this first one was poorly named, but it is what it is. Aimed shot. This is when a character takes the time to carefully aim and squeeze off one well-placed shot. This is the basic attack that can be performed with all cell weapons. Imagine drop the magazine here. There we go. Imagine I got my 45 here. I raise it up. I look down the sight, pull the trigger. Okay. So that's an aim shot. I think it should be called like a basic shot or something, or a single shot, whatever. But in Palladium, for all of its life, it's been called aim shot. Only reason I say that is for the new players, because sometimes you get confused with called shot. Because other games will use things like aim shot to mean called shot. But I mean, that aim shot is just your normal, everyday, common garden variety. I look down the sight, pull the trigger. So this is the basic attack technique performed with all missile weapons. It doesn't say it here, but that gives you, if you have the weapon proficiency of ranged in that, so in this case for like my 45 it'd be handgun, right? Then it's +3 to strike. All right, burst shot. This is when a character with an automatic weapon, usually a submachine gun or machine gun, shoots several rounds, one immediately after another at the same target. Aim is hastier, and the recoil from the weapon's action moves the aim point with each shot, reducing accuracy. While accuracy is reduced, the odds of hitting one's target with multiple rounds is increased. Note, roll to strike only once to see if the entire burst hits. Do not roll for each individual bullet. Only weapons with the burst damage listed can be fired in this way. So there is now a flag or a moniker or a notification on the weapon itself to tell you if you can use burst fire. No, I'm not gonna. I use Imperial units in my everyday life. For a game, it makes life a little easier. Imperial for right. You know what's funny is the United States is a metric country. You would never know it though. I've had people argue with me on that. No, we are a metric country. It's just, you'd never, because we're not going to change miles. And you know how much it would cost to change our highways mileage? We're not going to do that. Plus, nobody uses it. Outside of like science and engineering, nobody uses metric. All right. You know what? I'm not going to dive into this one more unless some people make some comments on that. But it's very simplistic here. Burst shot, it has to have the burst flag on it. And yeah, you roll the strike. And the weapon will actually also tell you, I'll just tell you this up front because, look at the equipment. The weapon will actually tell you what its burst damage is. And I think it's usually double what standard damage is. Wild burst. This is when the character shoots an automatic weapon into an area without taking the time to aim. This usually happens when a character is trying to hit an unseen opponent or angry, running, rolling, leaping, shooting from a moving vehicle, etc. Roll once to strike with the wild burst, but there's a 20% chance of hitting an innocent bystander in or past the target area. Damage is normal for 1 round. So you're doing 1 round of damage. This is a rule that a lot of people, because while it's clarified, this rule has been around Palladium for a long time. This is one I've seen cause a ton of arguments. And first of all, they think, well, it doesn't do enough damage. And then, oh my God, 20% or whatever the chance is that you could possibly hit an innocent bystander. It's not like they're just standing right next to each other. Yeah, but you're shooting wild. Go watch some cop videos and find out like, oh, there was a drive-by shooting and it accidentally hit a kid walking down the sidewalk or something, or inside a house, even though they're shooting at somebody on a sidewalk. Police have had that happen as well, where there's, having a little shootout with somebody and there's a business behind them, but they have to, put down the other person and a bullet goes through, say, like a barbershop window or something and hits somebody. That crap happens. I'm not going to say that the 20% could be more or less. That's going to be a game master call. But the base out of the gate, there's a 20% chance of hitting an innocent bystander, especially if you're driving down the highway acting all stupid. Look, we all know that player characters get dumb. It's a busy highway. And they're just leaning out the window. I gotta get them. Like, well, you realize all these other cars are around? Well, it's only 20% chance. Okay. So. Ranged attack, natural energy blast. Some characters have powers that enable them to emit blasts of fire, electricity, or other energy. Shooting an energy blast is an attack action. So at this point of the game, since we haven't gotten a transdimensional, yeah, if you've got some psionic power that lets you blast some some I-beams or something at somebody. Or if you're combining this with Heroes Unlimited for some reason, yes, that using that ability is an action. Fair enough. Get them, you mean R-dumb? Yeah. Read Chicago news, happens all the time. There you go. Oh, did I? You're right. Good catch. Hey, Sean, if you watch this, I'm going to write that down. And who spotted that? Okay. How do I spell your name? Citelthof. What page is that? Well, it's under Wild Burst. They're not. If you guys haven't noticed, I almost never say the word. This is why I probably missed that myself. Is I almost never. I don't believe in singular they, and I refuse to use it. I know this is the way Palladium's going to be doing things going forward. And I guess even the Chicago manual of style at this point has changed to accept singular they. I despise it. It was put into place by activists. I refuse to accept it. And I did 4 years of research on that pedantically on that topic. 2.5 really, but over the course of 4 years. Bought grammar books, bought English books, bought why are things changing and so on and so forth, and I refuse to accept singular they. So when I see the word there anyway, 9 times out of 10, I change it to the or bypass it. My eyes don't even see it. I've trained myself to do that. So good catch, and I missed that. Yeah, me too. So I'm actually my background's in technical writing, so so believe me, I've sent Sean quite a few messages about, hey, I think I missed something here. Now, some of it's stylistically different, and Sean can write how he wants. Some of it are like, ooh, So yeah, and I know that there are other editors and proofreaders as well. So the more, oh, dude, I'm actually Beat Magnet. I don't know if you're saying this as a troll or as a joke or for real, but I actually agree with this. Because nowadays, everybody takes everything so personally. In the 80s, I probably would have disagreed with you, but everybody takes stuff so personally nowadays. I have to say, well, when you do this, well, I don't mean you. I mean the generalized you. If we went back to thee and thou, you wouldn't have to do that. You'd know if we said you, it was generalized. And if we said thee, thou, that is it? I forget what the other one is. Anyway, that it was about the individual. At this point, I want to bring that back as well. Not a troll. So you and I are in perfect agreement. So I hate that disclaimer. Hey, when you go outside, well, I don't go outside. Dude, I'm not just talking about you. It's a general, take the context. Come on. Anyway, let's get back to, again, there are a lot of, if you find these things here, I'll just tell you this right now. If you find these things, I'm not going to give you Sean's email address. So what I will say is just submit it to the Palladium contact form saying, hey, you think you found a typo in here? Believe me, I've probably found a lot of them already and sent them, but it's good in case I didn't. So go ahead and put it in here. Anything that can help improve. Sean has been very graciously open-minded about some of even my pedantry where I'm like, dude, mix passive voice and active voice in here. Stop it. Things like that. But Palladium has always been a little more flexible when it comes to their style. Very pedantic in certain things, like, I.Q. back in the day, right? But also very flexible, more creative. I'm a technical writer. I don't believe in creativity in writing. So there we go. And yeah, Sean has shut me down a couple of times as well. It's like, yeah, I'm not changing it. Okay, it's your book. But to point it out, I try to use the term one. Yeah, one is something we did a lot back in the day, but nowadays it sounds a little off, but I do try to use that as well when I'm writing if I have to. But I'll just tell you this, as a technical writer, we're taught to write without pronouns as much as possible. You actually restate it. Unless it's so redundant, you're like, oh my God. But you actually have that redundancy in there. But that gets outside the bounds of creative writing where, pronouns exist. But anywho, let's not dwell on that. But if you do catch those things, by all means, when you get the book, write down, and they'll either say, okay, gonna fix that, or, yeah, I'm okay the way it is. It is what it is. So we all want to make the book better, right? So, and there's going to be a second printing, a third printing, a fourth printing, a fifth printing, like even Forbidden Lands, I think it's on like the sixth printing or something. That's a very recent game in my mind. It's like, what, 10 years old or something? I don't know. And it's on whateverth printing. So it's going to happen. So yeah, if we can make the book better for the next printing, by all means. All right, let's get instead of discussing all the changes in the Chicago manual style. Let's move on. And no, I don't like the MLA. I think the MLA is an activist style guide. And again, we can talk about that offline though. Ranged attack. Oh, so no, we're under reactions now. Now we've talked a lot about dodge, parry, and tangle. Those are reactions. But let's see what it says here. When attacked by an opponent, the target may defend themselves. See right there. It already makes me stop to do that because to me that's just wrong. Yeah. When attacked by an opponent, the target may defend himself by using up an action response. An example is IE supposed. See, now you guys got me looking at the freaking grammar instead of just reading this stuff. IE, I know E.G. Requires a comma after it. Doesn't I.E. also require a comma after it? I think it does. I blame you guys for pointing. See, you should never pointed that out. I would have just been reading. Now my brain can't stop. All right. So an example, a reaction. So when you defend yourself, you use a reaction. The standard reactions known are parry and dodge. More can be gained from progressing in combat training. The most common one is automatic parry because, let's be honest, most of you guys are going to have hand-to-hand skills. I think it's fun to have characters without it, but only if it's the right type of character. I don't gimp my characters for the sake of gimping them. I like to play characters that make sense. I don't play numbers. I play characters. Other reactions that may be gained include entangle, disarm, and throw. While some of these maneuvers are commonly available as attack actions, being able to interrupt an opponent's attack and avoiding its effects with the character's own reaction can be quite powerful in turning the tide of combat. To successfully react, the defender must roll better than the attacker's strike roll on a 20-sided die. Okay, hold on. We're going to get back to this. I want to highlight this so I remember, though. On a 20-sided die. Parry and dodge have specific bonuses that apply. Most other reactions add the defender's melee strike bonus instead. If an attacker rolls a natural number that is a critical strike, like a natural 20, the defender's entangle roll must be a naturally equal or higher roll on a d20. Wow, that could be written a lot better. Defenders win ties. Okay. Yeah, this whole section here, I think, needs to be rewritten. The defender must roll better than the attacker. She should say equal to or better than the attacker's strike roll. This down here clarifies that. I mean, the way it's written right now, this is necessary. Okay. Personally, I would just do equal to or better than up here, but whatever. But we get it. So it's equal in the end. It's equal to or better than when you do a reaction. So, all right. Roll with impact. As an action, victims can reduce the impact of blows, explosions, and falls by rolling their body with the kinetic energy. Roll with impact does not work against energy, blasts, bullets, fire, bladed weapons, sharp natural weapons, psionics, or radiation. I can't roll against psionics? Man. Victims who successfully roll over the attackers strike on a d20, take half damage. Falling characters must... Okay, by the way, this is a misprint. It's 10. There's another part of the book where it says 10, and I asked Sean about that. Which one is it? It's 10, not 12. For clarity's sake out there, okay? So falling characters must roll a 10 or higher on a roll with impact. Interestingly here, though, and I would have to go back and verify, and I'm not going to do that right now, it says roll over again and not equal to or over. And I don't know if there's another place in here. There's an example. Oh, actually, isn't there an example? I think there's an example. So somebody, if you can remember to help me fact check this, is this equal to or is this over? Now, roll with impact is a different aspect. It's not a dodge, parry, strike that you do immediately. Roll with impact, you do once you know damage is going to be rolled. All right. Usually we do it right after. Well, you declare it before the damage roll, then he rolls the damage, and if you made it successfully, then we have you roll. That's just how we do it. It's probably supposed to be roll the attack, roll the dodge parry, declare your roll with punch fall, roll it there, then roll damage. I don't know. It doesn't really matter because you're going to take the damage or not anyway. So in this case, it's half damage. So the defender is for sure going to, the attacker is for sure going to hurt you. It's just a matter of, is it half damage or is it full damage? Our motive is you declare it before he rolls the damage, but you actually roll the roll with impact after he rolls damage, because it's usually like he's getting the dice ready to roll his damage, and you're like, I'm going to roll with impact on that. Okay, well, he rolled 16 damage. Let's see if you take 8. That's just how we do it. But it takes an action. Now, let's stand by with this right here, and we'll remind me later to see if the examples say you have to roll over, or if the example shows that you roll equal to or over. I hope for consistency's sake it's equal to or over. With that said, because it actually takes place at a different part, it's not full up an immediate reaction, I could see there being a difference. All right. Round. A period of combat lasting 15 seconds. This is a time combatants have to attack, react, move, draw weapons, and take other actions, also called a combat round or a melee round. After yesterday's live stream, there's a bunch of talk about how, wow, we only have 2 actions. I can do more than that in 15 seconds. Yeah, it's just like Dungeons and Dragons with its 1-minute rounds. And no, WotC is not Dungeons and Dragons. With its 1-minute rounds, you have to assume there's a lot more going on there. That maybe there's a little bit of suspension of disbelief, but what they're going for here is a street level gritty game where those we'll just say the ninja moves are more important than the firearms moves, because it's kind of supposed to be a ninja game. I understand the argument for having more than 2 actions per round. But I also understand the argument, this is a game first. Remember, role-playing games are games. They're not life simulators. They're games. So, so the idea that all you can do is get up off the ground and run 10 yards and you've used both your actions for that round, again, your mileage may vary on that. Maybe you'll want to house rule it, but I understand the point. And I think if they would have added in more complexity in there. Well, if you're on the ground, then change, and you're only doing a move action, well, then maybe it doesn't take. Now, that would have just added confusion to it. It's very simple right now, and at this point, game masters can house rule it. Palladium has always been a defender wins company, meet it or beat it. I agree with you. Yep. I agree with you. Saving throws. Occasionally, characters must roll to save against exotic attacks like toxins, insanity, psionics. This is done by rolling a d20 and trying to meet or beat a target number. One of the things that I mentioned to Sean, and I don't think he agreed with me, and I understand. This isn't me complaining, but I want to point it out to newer players in terms of this, is on your character sheet, if you have a high, I think it's physical endurance, you'll have a bonus to save against toxins. Yeah, magic too, but we're not talking about that right now. Against toxins. Well, you notice on here, you don't see a toxin saving throw. Well, but at the same time, toxins has a definition, okay? So for me, poisons, harmful drugs, whether lethal, non-lethal or lethal, all are toxins, okay? There you go. Now, if you want to rule it differently at your table, that's weird, but you do what you want to do. But, so yeah, to have a +2 bonus to save versus toxins, to me, means all of these. I've had people actually argue that it shouldn't include drugs. I do, because it's still something, entering your body. But that's on you. I don't care. You do you. So I actually asked him, I said, don't you think you should make that either on the character sheet say these 3 things, or make it a toxin save here? And I think his response was basically like, yeah, I'm not going to change it. like I don't remember exactly, but I get it because he doesn't want to change too much from the Palladium standard. I was just looking at it for like the new player. So for new players out there and for new game masters out there, when you get a bonus to toxins, it means these. So, welcome back. Is your internet fixed, sir?
I mean, he's like, no, it's fine. Okay.
Did you show him the first 10 minutes of this stream?
No. That would have been. I would have that anyways if I'd thought of it. No, he did.
Right there. Where is he? Get the guy back. Check the logs. Read the logs. Oh, man. At this point, so I work in video conferencing. That's what my job is. If I had the network shop come back to me, be like, there's nothing wrong with the network, I would start reading the logs and be like, it looks like a network issue there. It looks like a network issue there. It looks like I dropped an IP there. It looks like, looks like I'm going to the wrong VPN over here. So what's going on? All right, let's get back to this. So occasionally characters must roll save. So we did that. This is done by rolling D20, trying to meet or beat the target number. The target numbers are generally listed when a save is required. This is actually one of the things that Sean did tell me, and I remember this. For the most part, this is a good generalization, but for the most part, specific toxins and drugs and so forth are going to have their own saves. Pretty much use this when it isn't identified in the drug. Okay? So, yeah, we'll just leave it at that. I don't want to confuse the situation. So use this when it isn't mentioned, and else use whatever the drug says. So yeah, the target numbers are generally listed when a save is required, but game masters can use the following as a guideline for circumstances that may come up. Booyah. And as I stated in my character creation video, I always found this odd, but it makes sense. It's just odd. Magic. This is save to 12 or higher is when you're saving against an apprentice mage who is attacking you. 16 or higher is for when a master mage is attacking you. Psychics, on the other hand, is about you. So, because there's no way that an apprentice mage would have a better saving throw than a master mage. Let's just put it that way. Psionics is about you. If you're a non-psionic, you have to roll a 15 or higher. If you are a psychic, you get to roll a 10 or higher. Why would non-lethal have a higher target number? I've never directly asked this question, but to Palladium. But here's what game masters have told me in the past. Because we don't want to kill everybody. That's why. Non-lethal, the effects are negative and can hurt you, but lethal will kill you outright, and that's what it is. And we don't want to kill everybody, so we make it a little bit easier. Still above a 50% chance. But go back to what I said a moment ago. Each one is going to probably have its own number anyway. Now, I don't know if that was the Palladium mentality in that. I'm just saying that's the way it's been explained to me by a few people over the years, and it kind of makes sense. Remember, this is a game, and you don't want to just go outright, killing everybody day one. So, take that for what you wish, and if you don't like it, flip them. I'm not gonna lie. I've always had the same question. But I accept it because that makes sense. I can mess with them more with non-lethal, and with the lethal, well, they have a higher chance of saving, but it's still 14, so 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So that says they have a 35% chance of saving. I'll take those odds still. I hope Brian is running down the street right now after this Cox internet cable truck. Get back here! Yeah, we killing him. You are not. Well, I don't think that was Kevin. Let me put this on the screen again for the people who are listening and not watching. He says, yes, but killing everyone day one was that generation's viewpoint. D&D and AD&D killed you so fast. That is true, but I don't think that was Kevin's viewpoint. Kevin is much more cinematic, and I think he'd look at that as being unfun. Kevin and I actually have had some disagreements on game style. He will never poo-poo my game style for my table, but he'd also never run games the way I run them. I'm very deadly in the games that I run because I like those kind of gritty games. It isn't an intentional, I'm going to kill all the characters. No, that would be fun for nobody. But it is, you've got to think, and you've got to think tactically. And well, let me rephrase that one. Again, I don't want to get overly militaristic here. I was in the Air Force. I wasn't in the military, but I want you to plan, and I want you to think things through, not just going guns a-blazing, so to speak. It is the way I look at it. And if you do, well, as Sheris found out when he played my After the Bomb game the first time, and he was a deer, and the hunters were after him, and he found out what one bullet can do when you use the Compendium of Contemporary Weapons, or Modern Weapons now, and the penetration factor and the stuns and everything else that come with the fact that a bullet just hit you. Yep, he didn't make it. So, all right. Now, strangeness is not defined in this book. I think it's defined, I think Sean told me it was defined in the transdimensional book. I haven't got to that point yet, so I don't know for sure. I'll take his word for it. But just so you guys know, like, what the heck is a strangeness saving throw? That is weird. It's essentially horror factor. There's some other things that can be added in there, but it's what we're used to horror factor being. So if you're like, this would be a horror factor check in another game, it'd be a strangeness check here. And I'm good with this. I think it fits the motif of the game. All right, sneak attack, melee. An attacker may lie in wait, an ambush, or sneak up, prowl, to melee attack an opponent, usually from behind or above. If the foe does not discover the attacker, then the sneak attack is successful. The sneak attacker always has initiative, and the defender is not able to parry, dodge, or otherwise react to the sneak attack. Why? Because you're a sneaky. There you go. There's a pretty lengthy discussion. Well, by lengthy, I mean not problematic, but I think it was lengthy. Nice. No, Brian sent a message. Guy was still out front. Awesome. Have him check those logs, man. Check those logs. It'd be funny if it's like his router or something. About the new perception roll. I guess I'm in the minority. I don't like the new perception roll. I think it's wholly unnecessary. But most people think it is necessary. And people have clamored for it for many years. We've actually read it in the Rifters about people wanting some sort of perception. I don't understand that, but you know what? You do you, and it's now in the game. I'm probably going to dump it, but I don't know. I'm going to play it and see how it works out for real. As somebody said yesterday in the comments, it's not the skill itself that's the problem. It's the bad play style that comes with it. Maybe we should do a charity stream to help Brian get better. No, he has good internet. But does it have point blank damage? I think it does, but I haven't run a Palladium game in quite a while. I'd have to look it up. I'd have to look it up again, Beat Magnet. So, what was I saying here? Anyway, I like the way Free League can, if you've got any of the Year Zero engine games, whether it's Mutant Year Zero, Mutant Gen Lab, any of the Mutant series, Vaesen, Forbidden Lands, Coriolis, Alien, what's the Kids on Bike game? Tales from the Loop, whatever else they got that uses the Year Zero engine, they have a very concise way of saying it that I wouldn't do, which is kind of how I like perception rolls to be made. So I don't really roll them. Now, you might say, well, that defeats, well, then I'm screwed because I took an animal at advanced hearing. No, you still get that. It would add either to what I determine a perception check to be. I might give you more, or I might give it to you first. There are various ways. Yeah, it puts a little bit more impetus on me to make sure that I'm letting you use those abilities. But I think that's a game master's job. You know, what I don't like is this. I don't like the whole, let's use Dungeons and Dragons. Kick in the door. Okay, I roll a perception check and a spot check or whatever they're called. Like, no. What are you looking at? What are you looking for? You didn't tell me you were looking at the ceiling. So yes, the jelly did flop down on you, but I made my perception check. Well, you didn't tell me what you're perceiving, so I just assumed you were looking forward. I want the player characters to be more actively involved in what they're doing. So again, I'm in the minority apparently on this one because most people chewed me out. So, it is what it is. But you got it. Got it when Villains Unlimited made gunshots lethal. I have the first edition Villains Unlimited. I don't have the second one, and I haven't looked at that in years. Does that insinuate that sneak attacks can only exist before initiatives rolled? Well, they obviously will exist before initiative is rolled to answer half of that question. But I can see situations where a sneak attack. So I don't know if you were here to watch the yesterday's stream where we talked about the combat process. Real quickly, initiative is only rolled once now at the beginning of combat. End of story. Okay. So that means every round, barring situations that occur, I'm oversimplifying right now. If you roll a 10 on initiative, you have a 10 on initiative for the entire combat. Now, there are moves like hip throws that have always been in Palladium, right? That will change that. Well, now all of a sudden, you lose initiative. You're at the end. Or you get yourself some sort of positional advantage and you gain initiative. Now you're at the beginning. There are also situations where Sean has implored us. He did this on the Veterans Day stream. That will come into play where the game master will decide, you know what, I think this is a new initiative. It might not even be for all the characters. It might just be for 3 of the characters, not, 6, 7, 8. But because of a situation that occurs, you guys roll new initiatives. Or you might have everybody do it. It's whatever. The example Sean used that I thought was a really good example was you're on that speeding train, because it's very cinematic, right? You're in the speeding train, and you come up to the tunnel, and you all have to duck to the ground. Okay, you duck to the ground. Well, now re-roll initiative as everybody pops back up and gets back into the fight. And there are many, many other reasons why you'd re-roll initiative. So I would say, no, you could sneak attack somebody. If that character is completely unaware of your attack, you absolutely could sneak attack him. Now, if it's in the flow of combat, I might say, well, you're not going before him. He rolled a 15 and you rolled a 10, but he's completely unaware of you. So you're going to get your attack as he's over there shooting those guys that way, or he's, trying to do some computer hack real quickly. It's like, oh my God, I got to break in. Or whatever. Maybe that wouldn't even be part of initiative roll, but you get what I'm saying, right? Like, so I could see it breaking initiative. Absolutely. Yes. But that's my rule as a game master. Initiative being rolled once is nice. I disagree. I'm with Nerdy Ogre on this one, but I'm going to play it the way it's written for at least my first few sessions until I get with a table. Because I've only rolled against myself, like character sheets over here, and done it that way. It played too much like Pathfinder for my taste, and I despise Pathfinder. Okay, I despise I'd rather play Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition than 3rd edition every day of the week and twice on Sundays, and I'm not even a fan of 5e at all. Okay, but 3rd edition to me ruined the freaking hobby. Because of things like, I want to roll my perception check. Or, okay, so I have an action, a reaction, or no, sorry, I have a movement action, I have an action, and I have a reaction, all that. I can't stand that nonsense. I actually like Palladium's more freeform action system, which this game does kind of get away from. Part of me is really happy that things are clarified because people have argued for years about how far can I move? How far is an action? How far is this? And we've actually shown on our live streams before, well, okay, so what you're saying is that you have a faster character, but because you have more actions, you actually move slower per action. So this guy can get away until the last action of the round. That doesn't make any sense. You're supposed to be faster. So no, having actions divided by your movement speed doesn't work. We've got that in at least 1 or 2 videos. So I'm glad some of this has been codified. I'm definitely going to be house ruling it. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. I should not say that. I'm probably going to be house ruling it after I play it because I kind of see how this is going. So, now, other folks, again, like it. And there is a benefit to this, and it comes down to the fact that it does make those moves, those holds, those grapples, those flips, those initiative buster moves. Heathen Dogs harped on this for years. It makes them more relevant. They were already kind of relevant, but they're passed over. Now it makes them much more relevant. So I get it. 100% agree. 100% agree. Oh, I'm saying that again for people. So, by the way, I'm reading all the comments. If I only put one comment up there, and it isn't that I didn't read yours. It's just that I only have so much time here. But it killed role playing and made role playing king. Yeah. Yep. I remember the group that I was in that switched from 2nd edition to 3rd edition, not right away, thank God. And yeah, it just made the game unfun. So, all right, let's get back to this here. Your mileage may vary, and here's the thing: if you love it, make sure you let Palladium know that you love this. You haven't played it yet. Don't tell him today. After you've played it, let Palladium know, dude. Clarifying actions and initiative and so forth. Thank you. So much made my life better. If you hate it, make sure you detail what's wrong with it, why it's wrong, not just like, this is dumb. What's wrong with it? How did it break your game? I can almost guarantee you that Palladium's going to say, well, house rule it back then. House rule it to have 4 actions if you want to do that. Or house rule it that, standing up doesn't cost an action anymore or something. I don't know. I don't know what good ruling for your table is. I bet you that's what their response will be. Because they're pro house ruling. Anywho, I've repeated myself. Like, some people don't even have to watch the yesterday's stream now. So let's move on here. I hope I answered your question about the sneak attack, though. That I could see it. I could see it happening even after an initiative roll if you're sneaky, and then again, your character wouldn't necessarily break initiative. You'd still go on. Say, what I say, the guy sitting at the table. Maybe he's got some sort of Overwatch position or something. Rolled a 15, and you come up behind him with a 10. He'd still have his action first. But if you successfully make your this is why I don't like the perception roll. If you successfully make your prowl roll, you win. You sneak up on him. You just have to wait until you're 10 to act. You just happen to be a step behind what you want it to be. But you're going to get your attack, and it is going to be unparryable, undodgeable. Then after that, maybe initiative is rerolled. I do too. So to be fair, TMNT never had 4 actions. Neither did Ninjas and Super Spies. So yes. Yep, there you go. And he put it in the comments right there. I in my head, I know how I want to house rule this stuff. If it plays like Pathfinder. All right. Wasn't Robotech before TMNT though? I thought the Robotech IP was before TMNT. I don't know. I always forget which one I started with because they're about the same time. So get back to this. I'm sure I'm going to get a bunch of comments now, and after this goes into video mode, where people are like, oh my God, stop bloviating and just talk about the stuff. Okay, I'm going to get back to it. Surprise attack, ranged. So notice that for melee, it's a sneak attack. For ranged, it's surprise attack. Does it really matter? Yes. As a technical writer, I will tell you that it does matter. Because the situation, does it matter for the player? Not necessarily. But does it matter when looking up the rule and trying to see what it combines with or how it's utilized? Yes, it does. So, by making a ranged attack action from a distance without being detected, the attacker can make a surprise attack. If the defender is not aware of the presence, violent intent, and location, the defender automatically loses initiative and may not dodge or otherwise react to the first round of a ranged surprise attack. Think of that as an Overwatch position right there. Just think of that as Overwatch. I don't know why I repeated myself, but I did. I thought I was going to have more to it, and I didn't. Structural damage capacity. This is the amount of damage an object can absorb before breaking. Living creatures also have structural damage capacity. It represents their physical resistance to damage and ability to shrug off grazes and other minor injuries. The SDC of a living thing must be reduced to 0 before it takes damage to hit points, with rare exception for certain special attacks like poisons or death blows. And then we are not going to read through this. Well, actually, no, we'll read through the paragraphs here, but I'm not going to read like what SDC everything has. And by the way, these are just examples. If you want to have a car door, have 100 SDC or 50 SDC, do it. This just gives you a nice place to start. But there are some things in here about lowering SDC. If it's not here, I know it's elsewhere in the book. that talk about breaking through a door without breaking all of its SDC. So let's see if that's here. Can I zoom in on that a little better? There we go. That's where I want to be. Below are the SDC values for a variety of common objects. For vehicles, shields, handcuffs, and other items, see their entry in the equipment section. When an object's SDC is reduced to 0, it is broken. Game masters exercise common sense. An example given, again, no comma. See, why did you make me... Don't edit books in my stream because it starts making... Oh, yeah, you're trolling me, folks. You're trolling me. Example given, a normal human can't break a vault door with bare fists no matter how many times he punches it. Yeah, right? Like, I'd love to see me break into, the Air Force base I work on. I can do it. Get me in. Right. Even with natural 20s. Importantly, SDC applies to the entire object. This is the important paragraph, the really important paragraph. A bullet can penetrate many objects with only a small fraction, about 2% of SDC loss. For example, if a bullet punching through an exterior brick wall hit a target, it would inflict normal damage minus the 4 SDC it took to get through the wall. That's 200 SDC. I'm just gonna say it's a nice simple rule. No. An exterior brick wall is not going to be shot through, at least not by small arms. But that's house ruling. Let's stay with rules as written here. So what that means is, okay, well, let's look at that. So let's say you do 3d6 damage, because I think that's what 9mm do. Maybe it's 2d6, but we're going to say 3d6. What the hell are my d6s? Where's my cup of d6s? Oh, there we go. And there are no d6s in there. Lovely. I don't know where my d6s are. Found him. Okay, so let's say I roll 3d6 damage. That's a d8, not a d6. And you're hiding behind a brick wall. So, brick wall, let's put this on here. Where's that brick wall? 200 SDC. Has 200 SDC. I roll 10, 11 points of damage. Well, according to that, about 2%. The brick wall is going to stop 4. Why? Because 2% of 200 is 4. I rolled 11 damage. 11 minus 4 is 7. The character would take 7 points of damage. There you go. I don't have an issue with bullets passing through stuff. I just don't know if 2% is the right number, especially when it comes to a brick wall. I would think a brick wall would at least stop the first few shots. Maybe after things get down to like 50% SDC. I mean, it really just depends on a wooden door. Yeah, I get that. That table isn't going to stop as many rounds as you think it's as the movies tell you. But you do you. Max, no, it would be Donatello. Where are they? Raphael, man, come on. I don't want to hit my microphone, or I'd actually play with them very poorly. Slowly getting better with them again. It's been 30 years since I used them, so, at least I haven't dropped them on my foot or broke my computer yet. Yeah, but the point here is that, hey, bullets will go through things. They might be slowed down. Shoot through a windshield, right? Shooting through a windshield is not always the smartest thing to do. I don't suggest you do it unless you really, really, really have to. But bullets like to go up and down if you shoot through a windshield. They don't tend to like to go straight. That doesn't mean they can't or won't ever. But once a bullet hits an object, it tends to do weird shit. Pardon the language. So that might be new. I don't know. I'm not trying to compare to the original book, except for places where I know you guys are going to step in. Even though I have been comparing a lot, I don't remember if it's in the original. I use a completely different combat system. It is the Palladium system, but I have a whole different way of handling cover and concealment. You guys have heard me rant about that many times on various streams, so I won't dive into it here. But I have a completely different combat system, so this wouldn't matter to me much. But I will be using it the first few times I run this. Weapons SDC is only damaged if someone is attempting to break the weapon. So if you've got a sword It's only you only have to worry about it breaking if somebody's trying to break it. A properly wielded sword can inflict damage or parry without losing SDC. On the other hand, losing a sword blade to wedge open a door could potentially snap it off, especially if it's a poor construction. Again, I'm sure there's some weaponsmiths out there be like, "Why are you telling me?" If absolutely, you know how many swords people went through when they're breaking them on shields and whatever. Look, if you want to play with that kind of realism, do it. Do it. Add it to your game. But for the purposes of cinematic play, I don't think the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, broke a sword. So, well, that's interesting. I didn't know the 357 was different. Okay. Stun. The victim of a stun attack is dazed for 1d4 rounds. Reduce actions per round to 1. Now, does that matter at low levels? Probably not, because you only have 2 actions. But once you start leveling up, or if you have boxing or whatever and you're stunned, man, that could hurt you a lot, being down to 1 action. Your speed is halved, and you get no combat bonus and cannot perform skill checks. You're like, whoa. I mean, you can continue running, holding your head, going the direction you're going or whatever. But you can do simple tasks, obviously. Open a car door and get in. You don't have to roll for that. But anytime you'd have to roll a skill check, you're just not in the state of mind to do that right now. For cinematic purposes, there you go. I'm just going to put this on the screen. I'm not going to read it. But there you go. For cinematic purposes, you're absolutely right. Tackle attack. I think this is something that's going to be used a lot more now. The attacker rams and grabs an opponent to drag him to the ground as an attack action. If the strike is successful, that means that because you can dodge parry. Look, I've played football. I've watched. I still watch football. Yes, I do the sports ball thing. Skull Vikings. You can try to dodge a tackle. Parrying a tackle, yeah, you stiff arm, man. But if the strike is successful, then the attacker deals unarmed melee damage to the defender. Both are knocked prone unless the defender succeeds in basic athletics or balancing skill roll. With a success, they both remain standing. With a failure, both are prone. The defender loses the initiative and the attacker is +5 to hold the defender on his next action. It's also called body block. So this is what body block has kind of turned into, because I think tackle and body block were different previously, if I remember correctly. So, yeah, right there. You'll get a why are you going to get a +5 to your hold if you choose to hold as the next action? Because you got him on the ground in a compromising position. There you go. You've already tackled him. Throw attack. Using leverage, the attacker throws an opponent to the ground as an attack action. If the strike is successful, then the attacker deals unarmed melee damage to the defender, who is knocked prone and loses the initiative. This is also called a body flip. This is different from hurled attacks, which is funny that he had to put that in there, but I understand why. Well, I'm hurling him, right? No, you are not throwing a person. Not with this ability. You're not doing the dwarf tossing right now, no. But it's different from hurled attacks. So, all right, let's go on to... Oh, well, that is it for what is in this book. There's an example combat here. We're not going to read through that, but it goes through. I did read it. I don't remember if I found anything weird. Again, when it comes to like narrative style writing, I don't tend to judge it all that poorly. I do think I remember looking at it for numbers, but I can't remember completely. So if there's a mistake in there, blame Sean, not me. All right, damage effects and recovery. I said yesterday we weren't going to cover this, but I think we got time. Yeah, it's only 2 pages, and I won't read like every table here. I think we can cover damage effects and recovery. What are we at? An hour and 23 minutes? Yeah, let's do this. Healing skills. First aid, paramedic, and medical doctor include basic trauma and injury care like the cleaning of wounds, bandaging, stopping bleeding, and so on. Basic first aid is fine for minor wounds, STC damage. However, serious injuries like internal bleeding, organ damage, and fractured or broken bones, hit point damage require bed rest and preferably professional treatment. In these cases, healing skill helps a character survive until he reaches better medical care. See the medical skill description for each detail. The way I do it, and I'm probably going to have to reread these skills, is I have because the skills may actually tell me when I look at them and I just don't remember. Again, I house rule a bunch of things. Is especially if you're bleeding out using penetration rules, I let first aid stem the bleeding, but it changes you dying from rounds to usually I think I do hours. If I remember correctly, it was hours. So you now have hours to get that character under true medical care with a bare minimum of paramedic and usually medical doctor. Yeah, because I'm sorry. No, first aid was minutes. Paramedic was hours. That's the way I did it. So now we're talking like severe gunshot wounds, hit point damage. There, we're not talking SDC damage, even as this said. So, and I want to remind folks one more time, even though I've probably done it 50 times, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is not supposed to be fast, high-powered action like Heroes Unlimited with superheroes or Rifts with just, crazy high-powered characters. This is supposed to be gritty, street level. All right? So hopefully you understand that. And somebody popped in but isn't showing me an image yet, so I think he still has network issues, but we'll find out. Brian might be back. We'll find out here in a moment. Maybe he just has to turn his camera back on. Where are we here? So when a character is reduced to 25% of his hit points, he's bleeding out and will soon die of blood loss unless he receives first aid. Take 1 hit point of damage every minute, so that's 4 rounds due to bleeding out. Was that rule in the original? I don't think it was. I really don't think that was there, and he looks frozen to me. Nope, he's not. Okay. You should just be very stoic. I can't remember if that was in the original or not, but I like this rule. This is a rule I'm going to implement. Even if I used to do it differently, this is a rule I'm going to implement. I might do it at, any hit point damage, but we'll see. So unless you receive some first aid, take 1 hit point of damage every minute due to bleeding out. Even just success with a basic first aid skill roll and little or no movement allows time for the binding of wounds and prevents further damage from blood loss. Okay. Back in time just to say goodbye, right? Yeah, I'm doing this for you, Brian, because I said I wasn't going to cover damage yesterday, didn't I? Did he find the problem?
Can you? I don't know if you can hear me or if it's just trash.
I can hear you.
Okay. No, he didn't. So, and now the internet seems even worse.
Oh, wow.
So,
the only thing I can suggest then, I don't know if you have access to your modem, but I don't. But I'd send him your router logs. But I don't know if they'll take them. So. Oh, well, that sucks, man. That sucks.
Yeah, I'm sorry I haven't been able to help.
Well, also, you better be ready to go by tomorrow.
Right?
Why is that, Brian? Why do you have to be ready by tomorrow?
Because otherwise, how are we going to finish? Well, we wouldn't finish Mech Warrior tomorrow anyways, but we wouldn't make any more dents in it.
We talk too much to finish a book.
That's true.
Yeah, so at is it 7 p.m. No, 6 p.m. my time now. At 6 p.m. Central, and whatever goofy time he lives on, because he lives in Arizona and they do weird goofy time out there. Or 7 p.m. Eastern. Yes, I will be on Brian's channel at Gaming with ADHD, and we are going to continue our coverage of Mech Warrior First Edition.
Which has been an absolute treat, by the way.
It has been, yeah.
All right, I think everything's stabilized. For now.
All right, let's talk about healing some damage here. Brian is on. He's had his internet healed, and let's see how that works if it was a character in the game. After a battle, characters who sustain physical damage must tend to their wounds. The tending of wounds can be administered by fellow characters trained in medical... This is the one where I was like, oh my God, commas. The tending of wounds can be administered by fellow characters, trained medical personnel, or by oneself if the character has first aid skills, is not physically impaired.
Look, I'm a fan of the Oxford comma.
I'm a fan of no commas.
I would at least appreciate some commas.
I let him know about this one.
Okay. That one, that's
it's fun. Look, this is just one of those things that happens. Look, here's the funny thing. I don't blame Sean. Sean is the author. You know who I blame?
the 6 editors.
Yep. I blame the 6 editors. Proofreaders, because I don't know what the objective of the proofreaders were, and I don't know how many he had. This is an editor's job.
Oh,
your name is in the book as an editor. I will never hire you as an editor. Good job. But no, Sean is the author. You know, authors make mistakes, whether it's in content. You know, Kevin disagrees with this, which is great on his part. It shows that he's got, you know, a very positive mind. But authors hate their editors.
Well,
but
I mean,
an editor's job is to look at this and be like, I'm sure you were thinking of whatever it is you meant here, but nobody reading this has a clue what you're saying. How can you not have a clue? I said blah, 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 blah. Right, and that means nothing to anybody.
Yeah, the author is too close to the subject.
Exactly.
So, but yeah, no, it's all there. It all makes sense if you add your commas.
Yeah, that's true. In that one, yeah. All right, healing hit points. Recovery, no treatment. You're just laying out there in the desert or on the street, in the alleyway after you were mugged, lit on fire. Go read the news. This is basic first aid treatment followed immediately by poor rest. Yeah, you know, that alleyway with the pothole in it just isn't good for sleeping. This usually happens when a character is walking wounded, trapped behind enemy lines, otherwise in a situation where full bed rest is not possible, or when a hero refuses to take time off from his mission for proper recovery. That is right, sir. A real man doesn't cry about his broken leg. True story. I literally I heard. How old was I? Like 8, 9 years old? I thought it was this 45, but I did find out from Springfield that it is not this 45. But it was a 45 very similar to this one. My real dad shot himself while drunk. And he walked home.
And he walked
home. Alcohol's a hell of a drug, man. I mean, it was holstered, so he shot down the side of his leg. He actually did get lodged in his calf muscle, but he walked home.
I mean, that's one way to do it.
Marines are crazy, dude. That's how I learned it. All right, so the recovery rate here is 1 hit point per day. I mean, the body is going to naturally heal, right?
Right. Well, I mean, that's what it says. It's normal recovery, no treatment.
Yep.
So.
All right, let me see here. When am I going to have you step in?
Not even slapping a Band-Aid on it.
I'm going to have you step in when we get to surviving coma and death, as long as your internet is still working.
Okay.
Recovery, non-professional treatment. This is your friend with a Band-Aid or your significant other with a medical first aid kit, putting a Band-Aid over your sucking chest wound. This is rest and basic first aid treatment by oneself or from a non-medically trained... Oh, I added the word A in there. I was like, what the hell? Nope, that was me. This is rest and basic first aid treatment by oneself or from non-medically trained people. This type of treatment may be used if the character does not want to involve the police or hospitals. This is like the criminal element, right? Or the vigilante. It is not necessarily inferior treatment, especially for not too serious ailments, but lacks the full facilities and expertise of major medical institution. Sorry, for some reason I wanted to read that faculties, but it's facilities and expertise of a major medical institution. That's 2 hit points per day. So basically, if you're laying on your friend's couch and, you know, got the wet rag out there to keep it clean, putting some gauze on it. All right, 2 hit points per day. Recovery professional treatment. This is rest and medical treatment from a doctor, clinic, or hospital. It includes the benefits of bandages, medications, and care by experienced professionals. Recovery is 2 hit points for the first day, 4 hit points for each day after that. Body's got to, hey, well, hold on, got some shock going on here. But then after that, things kick in and it starts to heal. the good drugs. You get the good drugs. Now, now that's all about hit points, right? How do you heal SDC? Just the simple SDC. Well, characters naturally recover their SDC at a rate of 5 per hours of rest and relaxation. This means that a character must rest or sleep to rebuild physical body strength. Without rest, the character does not regain SDC points. Now, before you complain, like, oh my god, dude, so you telling me I shot this guy 4 times with an AR-15, doing 46 damage each time, and he recovers that damage after a day of rest? SDC are bumps and bruises. If you hit somebody with an M16, an AR-15, and you only take off SDC, it was a grazing wound. It was a wound that didn't hit anything important. It was a wound. Maybe some games even do it this way. They even look at things like SDC or vitality, whatever, as more of a luck factor. Maybe the shot didn't actually hit him, but he tweaked something. Certainly got a scare out of that lowered his survival. It is not a direct shot to the chest.
Yeah, you can stop the bleeding with gauze and pressure.
Right. Or maybe even less,
Right.
It's like getting a knee scrape when you fall off your bike. Hit points are the serious things. And if you're sitting, because I've complained about this in the past, and I'm talking way past before I understood. I see complaints about this all the time. I hit him with a freaking M16. Are you kidding me that he's still running at full health? Yes, because while you rolled a hit, it's a cinematic game. Go watch movies. Typically, the good guy can take 400 shots from a weapon. Well, the bad guy, it's for whatever reason, he can be shot in the toe and he dies. Run it cinematically and just keep that cinematic aspect. Okay? Just that's the winning motif right there. It is not a bullet simulator. So, all right. Brian's been stable for 32 seconds here, so I'm going to see if he can make it through coma and death, or if he, falls into an internet coma.
Yes, let's hope not. All right, when a character's hit points are reduced to 0 or less, they collapse, lapsing into a coma. The character is near death and will die within minutes from blood loss unless they receive first aid. See bleeding out above. Once the bleeding is stopped, the character only has a few hours to get medical treatment to help them recover from the coma. So, typical for, I'm going to bring it up, but like typical for D&D. Basically, this is your,
What's missing here, though, and maybe it comes in later, is the 2 out of 3 rule. I could have sworn I saw that in Turtles also. I'm not going to bring that up right now any deeper than that, in case we come across it.
Oh, the make 2 out of 3 like stabilization rolls or something like that. Anyways, we'll figure it out. All right, damage before death. How much damage below 0 a character can undergo is indicated by their physical endurance attribute. Character can take 1 point of damage below 0 for each PE point. For example, a character with a PE of 9 will lapse into a coma at 0 hit points, but still lives up to -9 hit points. However, they receive more damage if they receive more damage than their PE, which is very possible, especially from bleeding out. They are dead with no hope of recovery. Thus, if a character with a PE of 9 takes 10 hit points of damage below 0, exceeding their PE, they are beyond medical help and immediately die.
Oh, where's my next page? All right.
All right. Sorry. Kim was messaging me. Coma length. The length of time a character can survive without treatment in a coma is also indicated by the PE attribute number, 1 hour for each PE point. So basically, this is how your physical endurance represents how much time you have to get to the doctor. So PE of 9 equals 9 hours, PE of 10 equals 10 hours, and so on. Surviving a coma. Whether a character survives to wake up from their coma or dies is determined by the roll of the dice. With 2 successful rolls to save versus coma out of 3 tries, the character recovers.
That's what I was looking for. Okay.
Okay. Character can attempt to recover from a coma every hour. Failure does not mean death unless the coma has lasted more hours than the length of time allowed by the character's physical endurance. To save versus
I'm gonna scroll
coma,
down here for you.
character must roll 16 or higher on a 20-sided die, including their physical endurance bonus. Treatment quality, facilities, and level of access to specialists are important factors that can provide hefty bonuses. +0 to recover without any medically trained personnel. +1 for non-professional personnel with first aid skills. +3 professional paramedic or registered nurse. +5 doctor without proper facilities. +7 doctor with basic clinic facilities, no specialists. +9 doctor with small hospital facilities, few specialists. +10 doctor with large hospital facilities, many specialists.
So basically, if you're in a hospital, you're going to recover.
Yeah.
If you don't, throw those dice away.
Yeah, and go buy new ones. They sell a large variety on Amazon. Recovery from coma. With 2 successful rolls to save versus coma out of 3 tries, the character is brought back to 1 hit point above 0 and breaks out of the coma. Their condition is stabilized, and they are no longer in danger of dying. Recovery of hit points after that is standard. The character has cheated death this time.
Well, you know the character's going to be dumb and get right back into the fray, and be in a coma again.
That's how we roll. I mean, just punch him with the face, and it'll all work out.
I miss you, Palsy Bear. If you're watching, you know who you are. All right, optional damage side effects. This is one of my favorite things that I use. I know it says optional. I use them. In fact, I expand upon them. The following tables are optional, but are provided for the game master to use at his discretion to advance the story. They can be used after every fight or applied selectively when the game master thinks dramatically appropriate. The near-death side effects table is left entirely up to the game master's discretion. Oh, I have lots of discretion. I discretion the heck out of that table. Whether you use the others or not, carefully consider this one. In some circumstances, it might feel like a punishment to use this table. In other cases, the game master can use it to allow characters to survive deadly experiences they shouldn't have. In these cases, it will feel like a mercy. It's actually, honestly, for me, it's somewhat a way of vetting my table also. Because if you go into it going, oh, my speed's -2, my character's broken now, I can't play, I'm done. Well, then you're not the type of player I want at my table anyway. It's like, oh, my physical prowess is -2 and a -2 to parry also. Well, my whole character's shtick was, was his dexterity, was his ability to pair, parried weapons.
Well, and the funny thing is, like, this is actually something I was going to ask about because you're like, when you were talking about the SDC damage, it's like, oh, well, you heal 5 points, per hour. I'm like, but like I don't care who you are, even if you're just getting beat on with your SDC, like think about like when you stub your toe, that's SDC damage.
Yeah.
It hurts for a week,
Yeah.
And I'm just using that as just a
I got you.
example. But so I'm actually glad that they include something like this where, I don't know. I think the table's a little too random.
Well, it depends on if you're using like called locations, which Palladium doesn't naturally come with, or you're just rolling like, hey man, anything could happen in the course of a combat. But understand this, this first table here, I'm sure it says it here. Oh yeah, it's in bold. This is temporary.
Right.
Down here, oh, actually, it's still temporary. What?
It's temporary. But
here we go. It's the near death ones that are permanent. Okay, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, your character for what is it? 2d4 days. I don't have d4s in front of me. Do you?
No, because I don't know where my dice bag is because I moved.
It's fine. I found a d4. Where's my other one? Oh my god. Getting these pyramid things out of here is crazy. Okay.
Literally on the other side of the room.
I rolled a 5. So, let me roll the percentile dice on top of that. Oh my god. I think I would have been prepared with the dice today, but I wasn't.
For 5 days, you are going to
41.
Injured arm or shoulder, -2 to your physical prowess and -2 to parry.
Yeah. So for 5 days, now mind you, that -2 to physical prowess could lower my parry by 1 also. If I had already had an excellent, an exceptional attribute. So it's possible that that's a -3 to parry. For 5 days. Yeah. Oh God. Ugh. Man, that hurts, It doesn't break your character. Oh, I can't play my character now. Man, some of the most heroic stuff. Well, let me just go back to when I played sports. Rub a little dirt on it, get back out there. We didn't care about CTE and all that other stuff back in the day. It's like, oh, just baby got a little injured ankle. Oh, you wrap that thing up and get back out there. You get back. A man gets back out there and does his thing. Well, guess what? If you're a mutant animal and you're supposed to be a hero, you're probably doing that as well. And if you're a little baby at the table crying about I'm half my speed, well, how about this? You become the driver for a while now. Okay? You're riding shotgun because we don't want you sneaking and trying to run away from stuff. We're going to have you sitting in the car while we're breaking into something trying to get the criminal. We're going to have you sitting in the car either driving it for the getaway or handling shotgun duties. Just give a different role.
Right. Or
lie in ambush.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, literally any other role. If you want to get a little bit more modern, a little bit more high tech, you're flying a drone on Overwatch. You're, doing computer hacking stuff. I don't know. I mean, there are more options today than there were, when the game came out originally that you could make them do.
Sure. And just to be clear for Kokoshuko out there, that's SDC. SDC heals quickly. When you actually have real damage, like broken bones, no, that takes time. And we talked about that a little earlier. If you missed it, if you heard it, well, then you know. But so there we go. So what did we roll here? So let me get back to reading. So roll in this table when 75% or more. So, like all of your SDC points are depleted. Impairment is temporary, lasting 2d4 days. Remember, penalties are cumulative. Roll each time the character is badly hurt, losing all or most of his personal SDC. So we did that. Now we got hit point damage side effects. Roll in this table when 75 to 99%. Why isn't it 100%? Because you died at that, but well, you're close to death, technically coma. I get it, but we'll deal with that one next. But when 75 to 99% of hit points are depleted, impairment is again temporary, but now it lasts a D4 weeks. So let me roll my D4. I got a 3. That's going to last me 3 weeks. And what did I get? I got a 20. Torn leg muscle. Ouch.
That's going to suck.
Speed -4 and -2 to dodge. Hey, at least it isn't first edition Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles where speed actually did add to your dodge. Okay back there? No, okay. So where is it here? Torn leg muscle, yeah, -4 to speed. Now for 3 weeks, yeah, -4 to speed, -2 to dodge. If you want to temporarily roll that back, since the 4 kind of lines up, the first week you're -4, the second week you're -2. I don't care. That's getting too pedantic for my taste, but you absolutely can do that. To kind of represent the healing? Sure. But, these are a little bit bigger. Broken bone arm right there. Half your physical strength, -6 to parry. At least with that arm. So. And then near death side effects. It says optional. Screw that. You got to use them. These are very generic. Yeah, they're very generic if I remember correctly. A roll in this table when a character loses all of his hit points and therefore has been near death. So once you're in a coma. Impairment is permanent as a result of the grave physical damage. If you go into coma for other reasons, I don't know, like a toxin does it or a psionic ability does it, don't roll on this. But yeah, if your character gets below 0, character effectively died, you're in a coma, yeah, I think you should roll on this. And this is permanent. This will last for the rest of the character's life. Cry more. And I got a 29. Stiffness and joints, dude. Oh my God, yeah. Reduce physical prowess by 2. God, knee just doesn't work the same. The back doesn't want to turn. Ugh. Everything's tight. I try to stretch it out, but it just hurts. Physical therapy. I go to that every week. And oh my God, this. Ugh. So,
as someone who is almost as old a man as Max,
wow.
I'm just saying I'm up there too. I feel this.
Yep. I'm 52 right now, and you know, the thing is, I still feel healthy. That's what's great. And there we go. That is it. I'm not going to dive into game mastering. Some good and bad advice in here. It's story trumps rules. Nope. Nope. I can't get with that one. But it also depends on what it means. I don't like blanket statements like this because I know they get taken too far. I do believe that that dice rolls are vital. Like, why are you playing the game if you're not rolling dice? And you have to accept the results of those dice.
Actually, you know, I just read that. I actually like it. I agree with it 100%.
It's just a bad title.
That's fair.
Go ahead, read it for the folks out there since you agree with it so much.
Sure. Remember that the rules aren't perfect things to be memorized and followed without further thought. They're here. Yeah. That's an editing mistake. They hear.
Yep, they are. It's supposed to be. They are here to help you.
Right.
Hey, Sean, I didn't read this section of the book, so there you go. You got another one.
They're here to help you and your players share a cinematic adventure experience. If something doesn't feel right or bogs down the action, then change it a bit or ignore it and keep the story rolling. You can always dive into the rules later after the game session to check the details and figure out what to do next time. 110% agree with that.
So my issues with the word story, keep the adventure rolling, keep the campaign rolling, keep the session rolling. Yes, I hate it's emergent storytelling. I'm not here to play the game master story. I couldn't give a damn what the game master wants to be his story. I really don't care. The story emerges from gameplay. Now, that's a very pedantic way of saying this, but I also live in a circle of people that the second they see or hear the word story, they rule a game out instantly. So, and I understand why, because story gaming has gone too far. Palladium is not a story game. It's a cinematic game. So it's in between. And I do agree. I actually agree with Brian. And I did read this section before because I remember finding that error. I don't think I sent it to Sean though, because I was really focused on the combat section.
But yeah, no, I just think I think you're nitpicking at the words.
Yeah, because people play that way.
Sure, but I agree with you. Yeah, should it be adventure? Keep the game, keep whatever, as opposed to the story. Yes, I can agree with that, but I'm not going to complain too much.
Right. No. I mean, it needs to be there. Like I said, my issue is really this right here, because if somebody stops there, and you know how people read nowadays,
right?
Like, no. Because to me, the rules are the universal constants. Are 9.81 meters per second squared. It's what makes up the setting. So I generally find that rules don't get in the way. And then you're like, Max, but you house rule everything. Yeah, for what I want my universal constants to be. Absolutely.
Right, but that's that if something doesn't feel right or bogs down the action. Yes, you're no one is saying not to house rule. How many times does Max repeat, or does Kevin, repeat, etc.? It's your game. Do what you feel is right. We've been talking the last couple of days about trying to do this raw. But we're not saying that after you've played it raw for a little bit and you want to go figure it out a better way, no one is telling you no.
So Walter says it's just rule of cool codified, right? But people take rule of cool too far.
I don't think this is rule of cool codified, because remember, it's just saying if something doesn't feel right or bogs down the action, then change it a bit or ignore it and keep the game rolling.
Which is generally what the rule of cool is. If it seems cool, if it seems fun, if it seems interesting, let it happen. I mean, you could also say that it's rule 0.
See, I think rule of cool is more just like, oh, well, that's going to be cool. That's going to be exciting. Yeah, let's let it happen. Maybe it's bending the rules to let it to make it
sure.
to make it so. And I don't necessarily agree with that. but this, hey, don't get stuck arguing a rule, keep the game going. And then it literally says, go dive into the rules after the game section to check the details and figure out what to do next time. To me, that's not rule of cool. That's don't piss the rest of the table off by arguing over the rule for an hour.
So Beat Magnet says, I was a teen in the 90s. I love simulationist games. That was definitely the heyday of simulationist games. And to be fair, I got overly simulationist in the 90s on occasion. It's taken a lot of time for me to be more, no, I shouldn't say more okay. It's taken a lot of time for me to see games as frameworks. Mm-hmm. I've done it for years now, but believe me, in the 90s, I was trying to find or make a rule for everything. And a lot of games did that, but I don't think that's absolutely necessary. And, and where this comes in, again, like I said, personally, I would just change this to say campaign or something like that. I know story is a term that a lot of more modern people use, but it also comes with some negative connotations, at least even in my mind. And I lean kind of in the story gaming much more so than a lot of grognards do. I'm a Hickman manifesto guy, if anybody knows what that means. So I'm totally for characters and character player agency to an extent. With that said, I'm not here to tell you a story. We're here to create a story, however that emerges from the gameplay, which is why I love the term emergent storytelling.
Exactly.
Palladium got close enough to simulationist without going too far, right? But a lot of people still ask questions about how do I do this? How do I do this? And even Heathen Dog behind the scenes, Heathen Dog, I'll be like, you do realize that Kevin is just going to say, do what you want at your table. And be like, that is such a cop-out answer. Yeah, but he doesn't want to make a rule for everything.
Well, but also, like, it's been almost 50 years since he first laid the rules down. He's put out how many different iterations of the rules. We were talking about how I think it's Sean that even says, there are tweaks to the rules in each of the settings. And so even though the rules are 90% the same, you're expecting Kevin to have all of the rules for all of the games memorized when it's like the rules are established. Either read it and figure it out or make up your own. He just wants to tell a cool story.
And the thing is, and I call it the Pathfinder mentality. This is why I bust the balls of D&D 3. And I say Pathfinder now because I know more people that actually play Pathfinder than D&D 3rd edition. But really it's the 3rd edition D&D problem where they want every rule codified for them. If you change one, there's that freaking ripple effect that, you change this one rule and now 7 levels later, the entire game's broken kind of stuff. But it's an encyclopedia that you look up like we did when we had those encyclopedias as kids, like, hold on, let me get the W section here and read but Palladium doesn't want you to do that. Palladium puts all the information you need for your character on your character sheet. Now some pedant out there, what if well, you haven't seen my character sheets, like not even the ones that I'm using for the examples here. My character sheets actually include every single attack that come out of the core books of the game for Ninjas and Super Spies, TMNT, and Heroes Unlimited. And I have an entire sheet of combat maneuvers you could possibly get your hands on, whether it's laying down on the ground while trying to do a circle parry and kicking somebody at the same time. But that's because I have everything in the character sheet. For the most part, most characters don't need things like that, and I don't use Ninja Super Spies in my games anymore anyway. But it's all in the character sheet. It's up to the game master to adjudicate if you need to roll it or not and what the percentage differences are going to be.
Yeah.
So Cyberpunk comes around, like what, the Friday Night Fights? Friday Night Fights I thought was pretty good. It was simplistic, but also included positional damage. But it was a fairly simplistic way of articulating the damage. I like that. Anyway, there's really nothing else to talk about in the book. So I'll
glad I could help.
Well, thank you for letting us know that your internet was supposed to be fixed or not. Well, actually, it's lasted now about 10 minutes. We'll see. I'm going to stand by for a little bit here. If there's anything you guys in chat want to talk about, I start at 10. We're coming up on 2 hours. Yesterday's video was 3 hours. This one, I think 2 hours is a pretty good time for a live stream. If you got something you want to ask or chat about, I'll stand by for that for a few minutes. But I think we're going to go here in a little bit. Brian, in the meantime, tell people about your channel, your shows, and what you got going on while I look at chat here.
All right. 2 channels. Primary one is Gaming with ADHD. I've been trying to be better about getting videos and whatnot up over there. That is also where Max and I will be continuing our deep dive into MechWarrior First Edition. But I have also even done some previous deep dives. My Little Pony, for example, with Kim. Battletech with my friend Chris. So I generally have a rotating co-host. But it's fun, and I try to do games that Max isn't covering. So there's some so there's some extra variety out there. I am thinking I'm going to be doing Avatar next, but I might replace it with Ninja Turtles. I haven't decided. So we'll see. But there's that. And then, as always, I keep trying to get people to go over to Reading Wikis for You and check that out. I have fun with it. It's just me reading Wikipedia articles, which, sounds kind of dumb because you're like, well, why wouldn't I just read the Wikipedia article? But I keep finding articles that are taking me like an hour to an hour and a half to read. If I'm struggling to sit here and read it for an hour and a half, do you really want to sit there and read it for an hour and a half? So let me read it for you. And then you can go drive or mow the lawn or whatever you're doing.
Listen to it on your audio book. I mean, there is a YouTube Music, I think it is, that... Oh, yeah. If you set those up as a podcast, people can get them right off of YouTube Music.
Really?
I forgot about that. Might be a good idea to set those up as a podcast instead of a playlist.
How do...
And it's really easy to switch over. You just click set as podcast. Kokushuko has a couple of comments here I like. Guidelines are good. People want to feel like they're playing the game, not just making stuff up. Yep, and Palladium's a good framework that I think has an amazing balance between having too many rules and not having enough rules where it's just, why is the GM even buying the game? I think it's got a great balance between there. I do believe that some of the Rift stuff is over bloated. Like, I don't think it translated over to Palladium Fantasy as well as a lot of people might. I struggle with Palladium Fantasy 2nd Edition with some of the changes in it, even though I've really only ever played 2nd Edition. Now, with that said, I don't think it's bad. I'm just saying, like, doesn't fit the fantasy setting quite as well. With that said, I keep saying with that said, that's gonna be my word of the day. I mean, the fact that they're trying to help people out and coming up with more rules and more nuance. Somebody made a comment the other day about how Robotech doesn't make sense because you can't dodge mini missiles, but apparently in Robotech they're dodging those kind of things all the time. I don't know why Kevin made the rules he did, but I actually like that mini missile rule. It gives you kind of a reason to take mini missiles. Otherwise, you're just going to take the big missile that does all the damage. Yeah, I mean, there's when you look at it in terms of gameplay, I think Palladium really does just hit a sweet spot. Everybody knows it's not my favorite system ever. That goes to the step system from Earthdawn. But between how the game plays, how the lore of the settings work, how everything comes together, I love Palladium games. And I can't wait to run more of them in person for the first time in a long time. When I get to run TMNT at work. So I nothing but support Palladium games. But with that said, again, I'm using that term for some reason. Yeah, Robotech had characters dodging missiles all the time, more cinematic. Well, for normal missiles, but I get why mini missiles. But even with mini missiles, doesn't it have to be 4 or more, something like that, before they're dodged. But
no idea.
But I don't care. It's a game, and I play the game first. The rules. Luckily for me, I don't know a lot about Robotech because I'm not into anime or Japanimation and whatever the heck we're calling it this year. Even though my wife's Japanese, like I'm just not into it, never have been. I hate the idea of some goofy girl singing and causing universal peace. That's just absolutely retarded.
You know, Min May's your favorite.
Sure. Okay. It's just like, what was that Sword Art Online? That daddy fairy character. Nope, I'm out. It was good until then. Like that's nonsense stuff. No, it's actually a 400-year-old spirit. No, you're a pedophile. Shut up. So I don't get into that stuff. So I don't care what the Robotech story is. I care, and I like Invid Invasion the best anyway. Shoot some bugs. The only good bug is a dead bug. So, there are many systems in Palladium. They need to streamline. Yeah, I see with that. And you can always house rule it. You know what? We're playing Robotech, and they dodge missiles all the time. You can now dodge mini missiles, and nobody will take mini missiles anymore.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I do, like, I kind of wish they would make like a nice generic Palladium rulebook, but it is easy enough to just house rule, and it's like, no, I like the way that they do it in this one better, so I'm gonna pull that over. That it's fine. And then on top of that, it does make it easier where it's like, oh, I want to play Dead Rain. Cool. I need one book, and that's it.
Yeah, and everybody, like, it's for probably 2 years now, people keep saying the best combat rules are in Dead Rain. I
just pulled that one out to annoy you.
No. Well, I mean, people keep talking. It's Dead Rain doesn't annoy me. The zombie trope annoys me. It's like, and honestly, to be fair, so is the vampire trope, and that happened first. After the 90s, I never want to see a vampire again. After the 2000s, I never want to see a zombie again. Thanks for ruining the undead for me, because I'm known for playing necromancers and running high undead campaigns and Ravenloft and so forth. But y'all screwing over the the undead.
Yeah, for me, it was when they made vampires sparkle.
It's not house ruling necessarily. It's just making a ruling. I don't want to play a game where I have to look everything up. I want to play a game that's flexible enough that I understand that if you're doing one thing, you get about a 10% bonus. If you're doing it this way, you just roll normally. If you're doing that other thing, you might get a minus 10% bonus, and I just go from there and I make it up as like, I think that's worth a minus 15. I think that's worth just rolling normally. I think, because I'm the game master. That's the way I see it. So I like the framework that Palladium provides. I have never found a situation where I've been like, oh yeah, Palladium dropped the ball on that one. There's crap. I don't know how I would rule that. I don't know how to handle that in the game, because they've always given me enough framework, especially in the more modern that's been Riftified. There's like a million rules. So,
right.
When vampires scared you, they were good. When you wanted to date them, they turned bad. Yeah, there you go. Have a random, and they all work amazingly well together. I agree. I mean, I'm with Heathen Dog when it comes to riffs, that you should use the riffs plus one source book. But I can also see, like, wait a minute, that kind of doesn't make sense. What if I want to use also the Bionic source book? That's just equipment. Okay, I can see.
No, I thought his rule was the core book and one world book is all you need. But like something like Mercenaries or Bionics, I mean, are going to be generic enough that should be fine.
But when he says it, he says the core book and one other. So again, he's not hyper like, oh my God, you can't touch any other books. Like, obviously, if it makes sense to your game, like I play Borgs, I want more Bionics. So can I go to the Bionics book and get more Bionics? I don't think he'd say no. He might limit some. I don't know. Yes, you can, but you're not taking this or that or something.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I think as a game master, if I were running it and somebody wanted to pull something out of another book, I don't think I would be as worried about it. Because there are a lot of things like, Coalition War Campaign or Juicer Uprising or, Free Quebec, where, it's a world book, but it is also sort of a little bit generic because it's tying in a lot of stuff to the core storyline.
Yeah, and there's nothing to say you can't get a Triax robot in normal Rifts North America. You could either adventure for it, or there are trade deals. Triax is trying to break in, just like what's Northern Gun.
Yeah.
So there are ways you can explain anything. All I ask is when you explain something, it makes at least a little bit of sense. So, there's something up here. What was the biggest change from the original version of TMNT to this Redux version? I mean, there are a few big changes. One was in the team character creation, where you now have to have all the characters have to have the skill in order to get the bonus. It's not just you get the bonus because you're part of a team, which, to be fair, I think makes sense. So I'm not actually angry about that change. Initiative being rolled only once in combat. And your mileage may vary on that one. What else? Well, I'll just say it this way. Some of the military aspects of the game are either removed or diluted to focus on the ninja aspects of the game.
Which I think they should.
So I'm sorry. There's a comment here.
Well, and real quick, I'm gonna. You didn't really address the. Was it changed as much as the after the bomb
that's
second edition?
what I was just gonna. Yep.
I think the bigger thing there is remember that After the Bomb was technically a supplement for Ninja Turtles. So
yeah, but After the Bomb second edition became the IP.
Well, right. No, exactly. That's what I was going to say. They had to, quote unquote, rework it to actually become a core game as opposed to a supplement at that point. So,
yeah. So here's the thing. Because I've seen him cite this a few times about not liking After the Bomb because it went too far. I would like you to put in a chat where you think it went too far, because I don't know how to address that. I really don't. I don't know how to address because I actually have almost the opposite problem with After the Bomb, that I think that it sucks in its skill, how it gives you skills. I always have to change that a little bit. Unless you have an apprenticeship. If you have an apprenticeship, then it's fine. And I actually I don't use the chimeras, I don't use the purebloods, I don't use any of that crap. But again, I'm glad they're there for people who want something interesting like that. I think they make great NPC hooks, but not as player characters. And I loved a lot of the additional powers that they got. Now, in Turtles, this Redux edition of Turtles, you're going to find that the powers are expanded a little bit from the original, but they don't go so far as as After the Bomb with like vestigial traits, predator and prey, and things like that. I love those things in After the Bomb. So it gives me more features to add to my character that is done in a way that makes sense for the animal type. They're not just random crap that everybody gets. It has to make sense. I also like the different flying mechanics out of After the Bomb. Glide, was it predator flight, whatever I had for that duck that I rolled up, the long distance flight and so forth. So, like you can't use, okay. You know what? I will agree with you on that. So let me put that on the screen. He says, like, I can't use After the Bomb with Mutants of Avalon or Down Under. You can, but with heavy modification. The thing is this, I want world book treatment for those. Those books are so tiny. And maybe for the day, we're like, great, we got vehicle combat rules and a kangaroo. Awesome. Now, or I guess that would be combining Roadhogs and Mutant Down Under. But you get what I'm saying? Like, dirigibles. That's what it was in Mutants Down Under. You got some dirigibles, and we can hop around on a kangaroo. Good job. Wasn't much to those. I'd love to see world book treatments of those. I think that would have been much, much better. But for its time, it is what it is. The first After the Bomb was a really small book as well.
Well, and my theory is they probably haven't given them the world book treatment just because of the fact that
it's not popular.
Right. It just
that is it. I don't know where it is on the selling list, but it's not that popular of a game. I'd like to see it become more popular, but I don't know if Mutant games are all that popular around the board, because I mean, Mutant Year Zero, it's a pretty famous IP, but I don't know if it sells well. Mutant Crawl Classics, I almost never hear people playing that one. They all play Dungeon Crawl Classics. There's another one called Shard. It's probably the best art of any game I've ever seen when it comes to anthropomorphic animals. The game system's okay. Unfortunately, it uses a lot of goofy words you have to memorize for the setting that I won't do. I'm not going to try to learn a new language to play a game. But I mean, fairly decent game. I just don't think that mutant games like this sell. TMNT's got it because the IP there, it's famous. But even then, you know.
Well,
out
yeah,
of-
I was gonna say, I think it's absolutely a product of its time and for what it was. Like, because that's the other thing is, yes, Ninja Turtles is still around, but it's not, even now, it's not that popular.
Is After the Bomb in the original? Is it? It is a bigger book. Maybe it is. I never realized that the first After the Bomb.
Yes, they actually have the first After the Bomb. They actually also have
Okay, yep, I see it right here.
Well, no, hold on. They actually have two things. They have Adventures in the Yucatan, which was an adventure supplement included with the TMNT Game Masters screen.
Hmm.
And so that's between the new After the Bomb and the old After the Bomb.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely, because I know the first After the Bomb very, very well. So, yeah, I definitely see After that. I didn't realize they put it in this one. I don't use this book much, and I feel like the spine just popped. Yep, it did. God dang it. This is why I don't get hardcovers much anymore.
But yeah, that's yeah. Even unless your spine is popping, that's definitely a good version of the book. The Ninjas and Super Spies is another good one for the hardcover because they put a bunch of Rifter stuff in there, so you get like non-Asian martial arts, so like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Capoeira, couple others, Krav Maga, I think. And then like a really good breakdown on military characters. So
there's something else here I wanted to, so mutants equal furry in many folks' mind. I actually wanted to comment on that. A couple years ago, when I covered After the Bomb, and then I started doing a kind of a more deeper series in After the Bomb, we actually lost some viewers. And their exact comments were, I didn't know this was a furry channel. and here's the thing that I don't understand about that. I have friends who are furries. It's unfortunate. No, I don't like bronies and I don't like furries. I think at some point you need to grow the fuck up. At the same time, if you do it in your own circles, you do you, whatever. I don't understand how, I don't have the artwork here. If you think of that picture from Parkinson of the Wolfen summoning the skeletons, most Palladium fans know what art I'm talking about here. How can that not be intimidating to you? You've got like an 8-foot anthropomorphic wolf thing summoning skeletons, and its teeth are bearing down.
I gotta step away. I'll be right back.
Yep, sounds good. And I'm not saying that that it should be as powerful as Superman or something like that, but I don't understand how that can. I don't have to keep the book on the screen anymore. I've been doing that. I don't understand how that isn't at least some form cool and intimidating. Sure, maybe playing the hopping bunny that wiggles his nose and whatever, that can be a little weird for some folks. I understand that. Or the people who play their animals. I'm playing a house cat that got anthropomorphized. I absolutely. That can kind of become annoying at the table.
Hey, I'm gonna get dumped here in just a second, but I'll stay. So when I go, I'm gone.
Okay, sounds good. But I don't understand, like, if you're playing a character that's got, especially like the bear or a wolf or I'm trying to think, tiger, lions, tigers, and bears. Oh my, how that's like, oh my, you're a fairy.
Well, but that's the other thing. Like, I think Ninja Turtles covers it differently. Like look at Ninja Turtles and the mutants and the way that they handled mutant animals. It was, yes, it's anthropomorphic animals, but like the whole furry thing is like cartoon animals. It's like, why are you wearing your fursuit with a suit? Like,
well, the animal's still gonna have junk.
Right? No, I no, but I'm just
they're not Donald Duck here.
Right. No, but I just mean that, like, I think they handle it different because they're not at.
Oh, and there he goes. Dang it, he didn't get to finish his point. In fun fact, Wolf and Shaman has "Hey Baby, it's the only job I got" written in Palladium runic font on his belt task. Cool. A mutant and a Canada goose. Look, geese are assholes. Do you make that goose? Wait a minute. Oh no, it's Free League that does the duck. That's right. It's the Swedish. They hate their ducks for some reason. But you know what? Goose are jerks. And if you make that, you give that goose like an anarchic alignment, and make him a jerk, you're a goose crapping in people's yards. Things that are print from Palladium books. Wait, but and there we go. I'm by myself. Wolverine as a Wolverine would be scary. I'm sure you could actually make that up in Heroes Unlimited. So some of you have heard my After the Bomb idea that I plan on running, and I'll just tell folks what it is again. I don't know when I'm going to run it. It has to be in person, and it has to be something that I get a group that agrees to play long term. So it may never happen again in my life, but I'm working on it. Not over prepping. I'm just getting enough stuff so I can visualize the world a little better. Might even not do it on Earth. I might do it on its own world. I haven't decided yet. But anyway, it's going to be Earth-ish. And then there's going to be a better reason as to why After the Bomb comes into play, other than high school kids come up with a virus. That's dumb. And then the entire world starts nuking itself. But I'm going to have different reasons for that. But it's going to be the same concept where mutant animals tend, have their enclaves. The humans they have the problem right now where they're basically sterile, and they're trying to research their way out of that. And they're researching everything. And through the course of time, slowly, this is why the campaign has to last at least a couple of years, slowly over the course of time, the characters are going to come across some of the experiments. Some of the experiments will be in robotics. Some of the experiments will be in genetics. Some of the experiments will be like, what's this red goo that they were drinking? Who knows? And then what's going to happen is I'm going to add elements of Heroes Unlimited into the game. Not the entire book, but elements of Heroes Unlimited into the game. As the humans are trying more and more to figure out how to maintain the species, they're going to come across genetically altered humans that have special abilities, a la Heroes Unlimited. So it's not just going to be Foot Clan members that you can all, 3 to 18 attributes and, same basic skills. They're going to come across somebody who all of a sudden can punch like the Hulk. That's not normal for a mutant animal, right? They're the ones that are usually stronger, faster, or whatever, because they have animal musculature. And then as time goes on, magic is going to enter the world, and we all know what magic does. Magic creates rifts. And there you go. I'm going to convert it into an SDC version of rifts. Very limited in form factor. You're not going to have everything from rifts, but the idea is, and now can the player characters get some of those Heroes Unlimited powers? Sure, but there's going to be a lot of risk that comes with that. Do you want to inject yourself? What's that crap from The Boys called? That something injection that they give them, the blue crap. Do you want to inject yourself with that? It could make you spontaneously combust. It could make you disappear into a pile of goo. It could lobotomize you. Who knows? Or it could give you superpowers. Yeah, Compound V, thank you. So anyone playing a goose needs to stay away from characters named Maverick. Yeah, well, or having the name. Oh, and then he says have the name Maverick. No, I wouldn't allow that at my table. I don't allow memes at my table unless you're good enough to hide it from me. And if you do, good job on you. I don't allow you to play a cow paladin named Sirloin. It's not going to happen. I like my tables to be serious, but that's my fun. My fun is playing them seriously. So, you do you at your table. No, I think you missed the point of what the Empire of Humanity is supposed to be. They're not clown shoes. You keep saying that, but I even talked with Kevin. They're not supposed to be clown shoes. They were just represented that way. So, no. They're not necessarily on the level of the coalition because they're still trying to figure life out. They're still suffering. Basically, the coalition has had 300 years to form from Nema and whatever happened during the was it the Dark Age or whatever they call it, the Empire of Humanity is still living through essentially what is the apocalypse, or the recent events from the apocalypse. So no, I think the Empire of Humanity is treated like a joke. It should not be treated like a joke. Oh, I didn't even hear him pop back in. Sorry about that.
Ah,
Usually I hear the boop when somebody comes back in. I did not hear it. So sorry if you're hanging out down there for a while.
I didn't even think about it earlier that I had the StreamYard app on my phone. Anyways, no, I like I did hear all of your description of what you're going to do with your After the Bomb game. I actually think that sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, but it only works if it takes a long time.
That means you're going to have to make friends in Alabama.
Well, so one of the people who coincidentally, it's not irony, who coincidentally left Legion of Myth over the whole furry covering After the Bomb thing, runs apparently at a school or something very near to me, like just a couple of miles from here. And he bailed as soon as he was one of the people who said, I didn't know it was a furry convention or some crap, and left. He popped back one time, and I said, please send me an email. Because they play a lot of old school games as well, which I like.
Mm-hmm.
And I never got an email from him. I said, send it to Legion of Myth account, legionmyth@gmail.com. I absolutely want to check you guys out, and because I don't want to drive to Montgomery, Alabama. That's one too far, and I don't like Montgomery, Alabama. In this local area, yeah, I'd love to get a group together. And apparently he had like 20 to 40 people playing. I'm like, sure, I could siphon some of them. And I don't mean that as like poaching, like, I play my game, not theirs. No, I'll just find the time when I could run mine with that group, or people who might be looking for something different or whatever. I don't poach players from people. That's a jerk move.
Right.
And then, do something like that. But I never got the email, and I haven't seen him since.
Rude.
All right. Well, I think that is about it for today. We went almost 2.5 hours, and I think I answered most of your questions.
I was here
because of word size. Yes, word size. Wait, the city I live in. Yep, the city I live in, I think, is 1 or 2 letters shorter. So there you go. But all right. With that in mind, I'm going to let everybody go. Please, if you missed it, go ahead and watch the first video on. That covers the first half of the combat, basically, where we confuse everybody about critical damage. Go check out the character creation video. Check out today's team character creation video. And look forward to, I have not recorded them yet, so they won't be out until at least next week. But look forward to a couple of transdimensional Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles videos coming up soon. So, all right. Thanks to everybody in chat. Got a little outro here. Brian, you want to say goodbye again?
Bye, everybody. I already talked too much.
There we go. And all right, with that, I hope each and every one of you has a wonderful week.